Hello, everyone. It's Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you guys doing? It's Monday night, and we are going to do something fun tonight. We have Matt Baier, apparently my uh, Mister, right? We're having an we're having an affair, Matt. That's the word.
Yeah, I
on
heard.
that's
I heard.
that's the word on the curb.
Yeah, yeah, that's all right. I told you the other day. I said I'm not having an affair with you, but I think I'm having one with this Leslie person.
Oh,
Whoever that.
Leslie's
So,
probably in chat. She was gonna stop by tonight. We'll see if I got her in.
hi, Leslie.
There's Leslie. There's Leslie. Hi, Leslie. Matt says hi. All right. So, we're going to talk tonight about some behind the scenes, right? We're going to talk about how the cast is when the cameras aren't running. And there's obviously some fan favorites, right? Or
Yeah.
fan least favorites. So, I guess, why don't we just start real quick? Like, how many years did you film the show?
Gee, I think I did 4 seasons.
Okay.
So I think it was 3 years, 4 seasons.
Okay. And how often were you filming?
Not as often as people think. One of the common misconceptions is that the cameras follow us around 24 hours a day. It was probably during filming season 2 or 3 times a month, probably 3 days per shoot, and maybe 4 to 5 hours per shoot. It was pretty limited.
You're serious?
Yeah, yeah. It's not as, I mean, there were longer days. There were some days that were 12 hours long.
No wonder, Matt, no wonder these girls are so spoiled and they complain about the reunions.
The reunion, I'll tell you what, the reunions are the worst thing to film by far. Terribly long days and a lot of waiting around, and you'll get into hair and makeup, and then you won't go on stage for another 4 or 5 hours in some cases. So those are really, really long days. Plus they have reshoots, and you're sitting on that stage. What you see on TV, I mean, might have been filmed 3 or 4 times on stage. So, I mean, not necessarily the content coming from us, but, with Dr. Drew doing his little speeches and so on and so forth, those are all done several times. So those make for pretty long days.
Can you talk a little bit louder, Matt? They're having a hard
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, that's way better, Matt. You were kind of far away from
Oh, sorry.
your microphone. There we go. All right. So, okay, so filming is a lot longer than it takes. Is it really as contentious on these, filming days? Like, is it really as much drama as it seems?
On the reunions or on regular?
On reunions.
It depends. We're all sitting usually in a green room together and watching whoever's on stage, and so there's really no tension or anything backstage. But if you go last, for example, call time is 9 a.m. and you don't get on stage until 9 p.m. and they've changed the audience twice already, and you might not be in the best mood by the time you get to see Dr. Drew. And that's happened a few times where we have to get there at 9 a.m. and we don't get on stage until the very end of the day. And so there's been some tense moments there, but it's just boring, honestly. It's pretty boring. You're sitting around doing a whole lot of nothing.
Yeah. Okay, so you say you're on, wait, were you with Amber when she, pretty much tried to beat up Kara at the reunion?
Yeah, I threw her father into the audience. You don't remember that? Yeah.
So can we talk about that?
One of my favorite memories on that show, and let me explain why. You have a question about it, or do you just want me to tell you what happened?
I just want to tell you what happened. Why was she so pissed off at her?
Well, Farrah was saying some pretty nasty things about us, in particular, pretty nasty things about me. And she went on stage, and we were in the green room. It was myself and Amber and Kate and Ty and Ryan and his girlfriend at the time were back there, and Macy and Taylor and our families or whatnot. And we were watching Farrah's segment, and she repeated a nasty thing that she said about me. And before she got the final
Was
word,
that when she called you a pedophile?
she did not call me a pedophile. She said I looked like a pedophile.
Okay. I remember it was something like that.
She didn't get the word pedophile out of her mouth, and Amber was out the door.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that part.
So what had happened after that is I didn't know what to do at that point. I'm still watching. I didn't think security was going to let her onto the stage. Well, ironically, security just kind of stepped aside and let her go by. Well, I went to follow her because people were saying, producers saying, Matt, you need to go get her.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out and went on, just got to the edge of the stage when Michael Abraham ran on the stage and got literally an inch from Amber's face and started screaming at her. I then went and just stepped in between them because he got pretty aggressive with her and he called her a few choice names. I don't know what they aired, but the raw footage of that was pretty interesting because he got about an inch from her face and screamed a few choice words that began with the letter B at her. And so I literally just stepped in between them and Michael put his hand around my throat. And when he did that, that was, he ended up down in the front row and it was a whole thing. And then Amber tried to slap Farrah apparently and never really she didn't really come close to her. Farrah was talking a lot of crap, but she did it from the other side of the couch. She ran around the couch.
Yeah, I remember that.
Taunting Amber.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, after that, ironically, the only person they dragged off stage was me. Security dragged me off stage and kind of had me up against the wall. And they were holding my hands behind my back. And I thought that was interesting because I wasn't the one that started it. And the thing that I remember most about that is Ryan Edwards comes out of nowhere. And he hasn't said a word all day. If you know Ryan, he doesn't speak a whole lot. He makes his way down through this big crowd of people backstage and makes his way through security, comes up to me and looks me right in the face and goes, dude, that was awesome. And just walks away. It was one of my favorite reunion show moments. It was kind of funny.
Okay.
But after that, there was nothing happened after that. Farrah went her way, we went our way, and that was pretty much the end of it.
So everyone literally hated Farrah, right? All the girls hated Farrah, right?
I don't think that's true. I don't think they hate Farrah at all. I think they have in a lot of ways, a lot of love for Farrah. I mean, remember, they all started this show together.
Mm-hmm.
And they remember Farrah how she used to be. And that's one of the things Amber used to always say is, I remember how Farrah used to be. And I don't think they necessarily love what she's become, but I don't think there's any hatred there at all, by any means. I've never heard anybody say, I hate Farrah Abraham. Ever.
Really?
Yep. That's 100% truth.
What is?
And I can tell you, Katie, I haven't spent time with Farrah. There's it's not always horribly bad, and sometimes it's entertaining. Sometimes she's mean. Sometimes she's standoffish. I mean, there's many moods of Farrah, from what I've experienced. But there's a couple of funny moments I can tell you about. Farrah.
Yeah, tell me, spill. Come on.
The first time I ever met Farrah was in New York. It was I don't know how far back people have been watching, but it was the episode where we were in New York doing press for the show and doing a photo shoot. And I hadn't met any of the cast at this point. So we went to where the girls were doing the photo shoot and the entire cast was there. Amber brought me around, introduced me to Kate and Ty and Macy and Taylor. Off over in the corner in front of a makeup mirror was Farrah.
Yeah.
This was my introduction to her. Amber brings me up there and says, Farrah, I'd like you to meet Matt. Matt, this is Farrah Abraham. Farrah swings her chair around in one motion, sticks her hand out like this, and says, Farrah Abraham. I thought, isn't that exactly what she just said? So I didn't know what to do. Am I supposed to shake her hand, high five her, kiss her hand? I didn't know.
Like a queen, like Farrah Abraham.
Like the Queen of England. And so I just kind of gave her one of that awkward grab her finger shakes, and nice to meet you, and walked away and thought, wow, that's interesting. So the next day was the moment where we were all sitting in a conference room eating lunch, where Farrah kind of verbally attacked a pregnant Macy about, why are you here? I thought you were quitting the show. And
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
So that, now remember, I had just met the cast, so I'm sitting there completely silent, just trying to eat my burger or whatnot. Well, a few minutes later, I end up in a conference room, and who's sitting directly across the table from me is Farrah Abraham. And there's not a lot of talking going on. There's 4 or 5 of us in the room. I don't remember who was there, but suddenly Farrah says to me, Matt, let me ask you a question. You're part of this cast now. If I gave your daughter a sex doll for her 18th birthday, would that bother you? And I remember my response was, I said, Farrah, why would my daughter need a sex doll? And I didn't know what else to come up with. You know, I think what she was saying is, does it bother you that, you know, I do porn and it's for people that are over 18? And I got what she was saying. It was just the way she said it. And so I remember saying to her that what you do to support your daughter is your business. And Amber and I were always supportive of that. But we also respected Macy for feeling the way she felt. But I think around then, Farrah just felt kind of attacked. And, you know, she was a lot more fun back then than she is now, for sure.
Yeah, you know, I thought, you know, to be honest, what she was doing was completely legal. And it's not, if she wants to do like sex work that's legal, I have zero qualms with that kind of stuff. Right. I thought it was really super crappy of the producers to be like, this is really against like our thing, because these are the same producers that have no qualms putting children in risky situations of domestic violence, or allowing cast members of Jersey Shore to kick the crap out of each other or get drunk and do all these crazy things, but they draw the line at legal sex work.
Well, I think you can probably get away with a lot more if you treat the production staff better than Farrah has treated the production staff.
So what was the stuff, what was going on behind the scenes with how she was treating people?
Back then, Farrah's always just been very separate from the rest of the cast. Different hotel, dressing room on a different floor. We really only see her at, you know, once she went on stage. And you know, in fact, the last time, the incident I just described to you is probably the last time I ever in any way remember Farrah commingling with the rest of the cast.
So she was like above all of you guys.
Yeah, and in her mind, I think she was. You know, I've never heard her say that, but she just didn't want to be around any of us for whatever reason, and you know, we were okay with that. I do remember that first year, and I'm gonna scratch my nose. I know people in the audience last time thought when I itched my nose that I was on cocaine.
Or you're lying. You're lying.
Or I'm lying. Yeah, I actually have an itchy nose. But anyway,
I have allergies. I have allergies, Matt, and they think that I'm on cocaine too. I'm also thin, so I'm a heroin addict. So don't worry about it.
Oh, sweet. Excellent. So I do remember that first year, though, a couple of times where, for instance, we all went to dinner one night in L.A. Amber and I, Kate and Ty and Farrah and whoever. We all went to dinner one night, and it was really pleasant. We all had a nice conversation. But when Farrah's involved, it's never really just a boring evening. Ironically, when we left there, TMZ just happened to be standing outside, and somebody told me that Farrah went to the bathroom and called TMZ.
That doesn't surprise me. She seems to like call the paparazzi all the time.
Yeah. And there was one reunion show, and this is probably one of the funnier Farrah moments, where we all decided we were going to go to dinner. Maybe it was after an after show or something, I don't remember, but somebody came up with a brilliant idea, and I say that sarcastically, of going to the Hard Rock Cafe in Times Square at 6 o'clock on a Friday night. And so it was the entire cast, and we had no reservation.
Yeah, that sounds like a recipe for like waiting forever.
It was terrible. So we went down, and the wait for 2 people was, I think they said 3.5 hours. There was 11 of us in this party. And Farrah comes walking in, and she says, "I'll handle this." And she walks up to the front, and all we hear her say is, "I'm Farrah Abraham, and I won't be waiting." Well, needless to say, the person, the hostess or whatnot, didn't take too kindly to that and said, "You're going to have to wait." So Amber said to me, "Can you go up and see if you can talk to somebody?" So I simply went up and said to the manager, I said, "Hey, is it possible?" I said, "We have the entire cast of Teen Mom out here, and they're kind of being bothered by a lot of people taking pictures and stuff." And the manager said, "Oh, I'll set you up a table right now. Come on back." And Amber looked at Farrah and said, "Guess Farrah ain't as big a star as he is." And walked away. I'd been on the show 2 days, and it was a joke, but I think it's more her attitude than anything. She sometimes has this air of my shit doesn't stink.
Oh God, yeah. Do you think she's okay? Like our biggest thing on my channel is we have diagnosed her. Well, we haven't because we've actually heard her mother say somewhere, I think maybe the Ashley, that she has narcissistic personality disorder.
I don't know.
Like, does she come off as like super like egotistical?
Well, yeah, but she can also. There's another side to Farrah that I've seen. Farrah can actually be really fun.
Does she like give a shit about anybody but herself?
No. I mean, I don't know what she feels inside, but she does not come off that she cares about the rest of the cast. That
like,
way.
Does she like, "Oh, hi, how are you?" Or is it never like that?
Oh, no, especially not towards the later years when I was on the show. She was never around us, ever. The later years when I was on the show,
Never around you. Okay, sorry about that.
No. She was in a different hotel, or her dressing room was on a different floor, and she would be ushered in and out, and sometimes I do remember, and I don't know how accurate this is, but I vaguely remember one particular time that we got per diems when we went on reunion shows or when we traveled.
Yeah.
We'd get a certain amount of money per day, and I remember one shoot in New York where word was getting around that Farrah was outside and refused to come into the Viacom building until she was paid her per diem in cash. And it turned into kind of a big thing because they don't give us that money that day. It came with our checks, whenever we got our paychecks. And she apparently was downstairs and refusing to film unless somebody gave her that certain amount of money in clean, crisp $100 bills, which... I think it was. I remember thinking it was kind of an entitlement thing.
Yeah.
So,
but well, she's still on Instagram pretending she's big and famous. Like, she was at the.
Well, she is famous.
Well, I know, but I'm just saying, like, she was at the Emmys and she was trying to pretend like she was like part of the Television Academy, and
that reminds me, Katie. When we went to the MTV Movie Awards one year, and Amber and I sat next to Farrah. And I don't remember who Farrah was. It might have been Simon. Yeah, I think it was Simon. We sat next to Farrah and Simon, and Kate and Ty as well. And that was a really fun night. Farrah was super fun that night. She was super down to earth. She was taking pictures with Amber and Kate. She was just one of the girls that night, and it was really cool to see. We had a great time with her. We really did. And then just as time went on, I don't know what happened. She just became less fun to be around. So.
There's been a lot of like, so what was Simon like?
I don't know. He was, I remember the first time I met him, he was very friendly. We had dinner in LA one night. He was very friendly.
Yeah.
Didn't see a whole lot of him after that. He was with Farrah, and Farrah was in a different wing of the building, and we didn't interact too much, to be honest with you.
He was the alleged pimp, for her. Remember?
I didn't know anything about that. Simon said some pretty horrible stuff about me, in an attention-seeking manner, and I never gave it much thought. I do remember the first time I met him, we shook hands. It was in the lobby of a New York hotel. He couldn't have been friendlier that day, and I don't know if the real him showed up later, or Farrah rubbed off on him, or if it was an act. I have no idea.
I think Farrah ran him into the ground. I mean, can you imagine trying to be in my opinion.
I mean, when I talk about people, I can only talk about the personal experiences I had with them. And my very few personal interactions in person with Simon were not unpleasant.
Okay.
That's all I can say.
Okay. Let's talk about Ryan. Ryan Edwards.
Ryan Edwards is my favorite person on the planet.
Like, we have a I have like a impression of him, and it's like, yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah. I was in prison. Yeah. And then Mackenzie's like, Ryan! Ryan!
See, I've never met Mackenzie. I don't think. If I did, it was really early on in their relationship, and I don't really remember it. Ryan is one of the funniest people I've ever interacted with. He doesn't say much, but when he says something, it sticks with you for a while. He's a good dude. His entire family, Jen and Larry, they are fun. They are nice, and I just think Ryan's the greatest. I can't say enough good things about that guy. He's always been nice to me, and he says how it is. I remember somebody asked him, I think it was Dr. Drew on a reunion show, said, well, Ryan, if you're not going to talk, why are you here? And Ryan said, for the money. I love that. I love that about him. He's fantastic. I can't think of a time I've ever been around Ryan where I thought, wow, this guy's a dick. He's just the greatest. To me,
he's just the greatest. Like, he literally drove high to his wedding.
Well, I didn't say he didn't have issues. I mean, we all have issues, and Ryan is an addict. But inside the person that I think that guy is, he's fantastic. And, I can separate Ryan from his addiction.
Okay.
I have the ability to do that. And because I've seen him personally and spent a significant amount of time with him, he's fantastic. I don't think the guy has a mean bone in his body. I really don't. I think he has a bad addiction, which I can only hope that he conquers completely someday, because the Ryan that I know and have spent time with is salt of the earth. He really is.
Do you think he'll ever be able to get clean?
I think so. I think so. I don't know what his situation is now, so I don't want to speak out of turn.
He was literally just in prison for opiates, for heroin. But he was on the reunion recently, and he was pretending like he was clean, allegedly. But he didn't seem to be involved in like a program. And Dr. Drew, who seems to be getting worse with each year in terms of how probing he gets with his questions, didn't really seem to like go at him too much.
Well, when it comes to addiction, whether you like Dr. Drew's style of interview or not, that's neither here nor there. When it comes to addiction, he knows a lot more about it than I do. I mean, I know addiction from a user standpoint, but from a recovery standpoint, I kind of adhere to Dr. Drew's opinion on that. But as far as do I think Ryan will ever get sober, I think he will. I think he will. If he's not now, and I can't say I don't know that he is.
Yeah.
But if he's not now, I think he will when he's ready. And I can tell you, heroin is an extremely difficult thing to get clean from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. That was not your drug of choice?
No, I've never done heroin.
What was your drug of choice?
I was a pillhead.
Pillhead, okay.
A prescription painkiller guy, yeah.
Still opioids.
Yep, they were opiates, yep.
But just, is heroin more intense?
I've heard. I've heard it is. The people that I know that have had problems with heroin have all told me that the first time you do it, you're addicted to it. And, so that's a pretty powerful drug from what I understand. But I think Ryan will go clean. Ryan's got an amazing support system. And some people I've heard say that support is enabling.
Oh, yeah. Jen and Larry are like number one enablers, in my opinion.
But I think eventually it's going to come to the point where Ryan's going to have to make a change, and I think he's strong enough to do that. Maybe his parents love him to death.
Yeah.
They really do. And I think that they'll eventually sit him down, and Macy will sit him down. And, they're all really, really close. It's kind of impressive. So
yeah, Macy seems to have a really good relationship with Jen and Larry, so that's cool.
Oh, yeah.
So what about Macy? What's she like?
Macy's, I love Macy to death. Macy's interesting. Macy's the person that at a reunion show will say at 10 o'clock in the morning, hey, we're all going to go to dinner tonight, and then not show up. That's Macy. Her and Taylor they're just great people, but they're kind of in their own little world, Like when we were in Puerto Rico, when we weren't filming, where we all went, say, parasailing, for example, or whatever we did. Macy and Taylor are out golfing by themselves. They're super close, and they like to do their own thing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But yeah, Macy was great like that. She did it almost every year. Hey, we're all going to go out to a club tonight. Next thing you know, everybody's ready to go, and Macy's nowhere to be found.
Do you think is she just more of like an introvert, or?
I don't know. I think she just.
See, because we've talked about this on my channel a lot, is that we don't think that Macy's really as into these friendships as it appears.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No, Macy cares and loves the girls. She really does. But Macy has her own life, her own family, and that's priority one.
Okay.
And I don't think this makes her bad in any way, shape, or form. I just think that Macy has her priorities set, and she's gonna stick with what she wants to do first, and I think that's respectable in a lot of ways.
Then what? Okay, we're not speculating, but then the other speculation about her is that she's an alcoholic. Didn't see it?
No.
Okay.
I mean, I can tell you that I've never seen people drink more beer than Macy and Taylor do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I've ever seen either of them drunk. And I remember when we were in Puerto Rico, I said to Taylor, I'm not a big drinker. I said, but I would be in a coma if I drank as much beer as you do. They're just used to it.
That's a sign of drinking a lot. That's a sign of alcohol.
I don't know. I mean, it's just...
You know, Matt, you are always so nice. You will never say it. You're like, I'm going to spill the tea, but I'm going to be as nice as possible.
I'm being honest. I've never seen them drunk. You know, I know that we were out in a club in New York one night, and Macy ordered a round of Fireballs for everybody but her, which I thought was funny. She said, "Oh, I can't drink this stuff," but she gave one to everybody else. So they're just, I've never seen them drunk. I really haven't. And
well, if they're drinking beer all the time, they have to be drunk. They just probably hide it.
If they do, they have an incredible ability to never change their behavior. So that's the only thing I can say. I've seen the other cast members drunk, and there's a significant difference in behavior.
Maybe they don't drink as much, though. You know how you can develop a tolerance, and then
Yeah. Well, Taylor's great. Taylor's the guy that can have a mimosa for breakfast, and then you see him all the way up through dinner, and he never has a beer out of his hand. And you think, I don't know how this dude is walking right now, but he's the same as he was at 8 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of impressive, honestly.
That sounds like tolerance. All right. Very high tolerance. All right. So we're not alleging anything here, but it is alleged that they have a high tolerance for alcohol. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's a fact.
Okay. So, okay, who else do we have? Farrah, Kate and Tyler. I heard that they like to partake in other festivities.
You mean smoke weed?
Oh yeah.
I don't think this is a national secret.
Yeah.
You know, it's legal where they live. They're not breaking the law. They're Kate and Ty were the people that I would say that Amber and I were closest to.
Yeah, it seems like Caitlyn really cares about Amber.
Really does. Caitlyn and Tyler and that family, to me, I will always have a soft spot in my heart for, because they always treated me like family. And and Tyler in particular, I have a fondness for, because when Taylor and I kind of started on the show together, and we really weren't very good at the whole filming thing, and Tyler kind of walked us through it, and you know, he'd been doing it for so long, and was, you know, kind of taught us a lot of things about how to act and how to behave and what to do, and he was very patient with us. And Caitlyn and Tyler and their family, you know, just from the second I met them, I would say that, ironically, my person that I was closest to on the entire show was April Baltera, Kate's mom. From the second I met her, I mean, we just...
After she got cleaned and sort of like sober, she was like kind of cool. Except her house makes me so anxious because she's a total hoarder.
I've never been to that.
Oh my God. Kate and Tyler dropped their kids off this season for like a babysitting thing, and their kitchen, it was like I had the heebie-jeebies with how much crap was in that house. I thought I was going to vomit. But if that's the least of her concerns now, hey.
She's the best. And Butch, too. The first time I met Butch, I just thought, this is just the greatest guy. Does he have issues? Absolutely, but he's got a huge heart. He was so nice to me from the first time I met him. I mean, the Baltairs, all of them, they're just fantastic people. They really
You
are.
know, interestingly, I will say when I reached out to the cast during the whole dust up with what was going on with the audio release related to Amber, Tyler was the only one that spoke to me.
Tyler's a good dude.
And he was super nice and understood why I was kind of frustrated with the response from everyone. And he appreciated the passion. And he was really like kind. It was actually kind of shocking. Like I was
He's a good guy. He really is.
expecting him to be. They were getting ready to go to Hawaii. I think they went a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seems like a nice guy. Okay, so Kate and Tyler, super nice. Okay, now the other cast. How often did you guys see them?
Not very often, but we spent some time with them.
Okay, so Amber and Janelle have like a sorted, complicated relationship, right?
Yeah.
They like hate each other.
No. Well, I don't know about now. They didn't then. All right. So you want to start with Janelle, huh? Okay.
Yes.
Well, so Janelle and Amber and myself and David and a couple other people had dinner in New York one night. Maybe it was the one time in my life where I had so much anxiety about something that I almost didn't want to go. And the reason was, back in the day, before I was ever on the show, I made some really horrible jokes about Janelle on Twitter. Everybody knows it.
Oh yeah, because the rumor is that you were like clout chasing for a girlfriend.
Oh God, no! I said horrible things about Janelle, and it's just horrible things that I thought were between me and my friends, and I thought were funny, and I was high as a kite. And anyway, Janelle, of course, knew about that, so here we are going to have dinner with him, and I'm thinking this is gonna suck.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to sit across from this woman. So we walked in, and Janelle and David were already there, and I immediately sat down and I said, Janelle, listen, I really want to apologize, and I expected her, from what I had known about her, to just lay into me. And I got to tell you, Katie, this is going to surprise you. She could not have been more gracious. She hugged me. She said, it's no big deal. You know, it is what it is. Everybody makes mistakes. Let's just enjoy ourselves. So we sat and we had dinner with them. And I was still feeling a little bit awkward. So the next day, when they were doing a dual filming thing between the two casts, I was backstage and Janelle was down the end of the hall. And I still didn't want to go up to her because I still felt like an ass.
Yeah.
Janelle makes a beeline for me and says to me, are you going to say hello to me or what's the problem? And I ended up giving me a hug. And, you know, I know what people have to say about her. But my personal experience with her, she could not have been nicer. And I've said this in a bunch of places. And a lot of people get surprised by that. But to me, she was incredibly nice.
You know, for as much crap as people give her, I will say that, like, she seems, when she's, like, interviewed and stuff by, like, outlets and stuff, she always seems, like, polite, you know, and, well...
She was gracious.
Yeah, yeah. I always, you know, as she's probably... She has a... What about David? Because, like...
That's a different story. David was friendly... He was standoffish, I will say that. He was kind of quiet, and he really didn't have much to say at all. I do remember there was an incident where, during that dinner, David went to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
During that, we all decided we were going to take a picture. So I had shifted seats into where David was sitting, and I think Amber came around the other side, and we took a picture or whatever. And David came back and found me sitting in a seat next to his wife, and he gave me a look. If looks could kill, I wouldn't be doing this interview right now. He gave me a look like, how dare you be sitting next to my wife in this seat? And he didn't say anything about it. But
yeah.
I said, oh, David, you're back. We just taking a picture, you know, sit down. And when we left that night, someone in our party, and I'm not going to tell you who said it, but this were not my words, so I'm just going to repeat what somebody said. We weren't 10 steps outside the front door when somebody said, he's going to kill her someday. It was just kind of an awkward kind of silence. And I remember talking to that person about that later on, and I said, you know, you really think so? I said, there's something crazy going on there. He's very controlling. I wasn't paying close enough attention during that dinner to see that he was being controlling, but this is what other people had to say about that dinner.
Yeah, I mean,
But
it's very clear that at least from all appearances and from what happened with filming, because he was making it impossible to film after he got fired, from what I understand.
that's from what I understand too. But that and the next day a handshake, how you doing, was my only personal interaction with David. And to me personally, I can't say that he was unpleasant or rude. He was quiet and mildly standoffish, but he was also, I remember thinking back then, he was also brand new in that relationship with Janelle. That's how long ago it was. So he
Well,
might
they
have
haven't
felt,
been together that long, right? They've only been together since what,
I don't know. I really
2015?
don't know.
I don't even
But I
know.
remember that's what I thought about it. That he might have felt uncomfortable with all that was going on and meeting all these people. And let's face it, when you have Amber and Janelle in the same room, those are two pretty powerful personalities.
Oh God, and they
So
still yell at each other. Well, Amber hasn't been talking about anything on Twitter, and Instagram. She's been on a hiatus while her court cases are all playing out. But shockingly, I can't believe she hasn't talked. I mean, does that shock you that she hasn't uttered a word?
yeah, I want to know who wrestled the cell phone out of her hand. This has got to be driving her crazy.
I am wondering, like, and this is pure speculation though. The last time she was online was when she was like going apeshit on Andrew and like threatening him, you know? And I almost wonder if there was like some sort of like legal, like,
I don't know. I would
like,
think. I
huh?
would think so. I would think so.
Yeah.
I have no information about that, but I would think somebody would say, you know what, you should probably not talk and let the court case play out.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay,
but anyway.
so people want to know about Gary.
Oh, Gary. Okay, Gary's obviously the person I probably spent the most time with off camera. Well, Gary's a goof. He's just a goof. I think that if you were to spend time with Gary and you were to leave the situation, the first thing you probably think is that how he really is, or is he putting on an act?
Yeah.
He's a good guy. He's a good father. He's a good husband. He's a good person. But he's always on. It almost seems like he always thinks the camera's on him. Everything's a joke, and everything is,
I've heard that he might be a little bit cautious of his reputation and a little,
maybe.
yeah.
There were, obviously I know a lot behind the scenes stuff about Gary and so on and so forth, and this is the one thing I won't be as open about, and that is because, in a way Gary was family.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I will tell you that there's nothing that I know that is so earth-shattering that he's this bad guy. He's not. He's a good dude. But I think that he acts a lot, if that makes sense. You never know where you stand with Gary. Gary's the kind of guy, and I think this is just part of his nature, where you could be hugging it out with him 1 second, then you turn around, and that knife can go in your back, before you even, fully turn.
Sure.
And I just think that he's, but I like Gary a lot, and I can't stress enough, he's a great father to his kids. He's an interesting dude. I mean, I've introduced Gary to a lot of my friends and some of my family members or whatnot, and nobody's ever said I don't like that guy. He's fun to be around. That's for sure. He's a lot of fun to be around. But I think my perspective is a little different because I know things that Amber has told me, about their personal relationship. So
Oh my God, their relationship was so messy. They were always in the tabloids. She was like,
right.
She slashed somebody's tires. He was showing up places to get into fights. I mean, when they were,
they were kids though.
Yeah.
That stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm just saying, like, they were always,
I will say though that there is a loyalty that they have to each other, which is also very impressive. Gary and Amber, while there's no romantic love involved there, they do care about each other. They're family, and they've been family since they were kids. And while they may scream at each other sometimes, and I remember the custody battle that played on TV was a real ugly time between them. But in the end, they always end up getting together off camera and talking and working everything out. So,
But she doesn't want to ever pay her child support.
I don't know if she doesn't want to pay it. I mean, I think there's probably more to it than that. I don't know what's going on now, but
I don't know. Earlier this year, he had mentioned she was behind on child support.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I didn't
and she also is behind on her taxes. But
I think that tax thing might be more common amongst the cast than not.
Oh, really?
Just a guess.
Got it. All right. So, who is the most different from on camera to off of all of them?
Both casts. Chelsea.
Really?
Yeah, from my personal experience.
So what's she like?
Standoffish. Better than everybody.
Yeah, I think she's totally snotty, and everyone on my channel hates me for it.
I don't have anything. I don't have any bad experience with Chelsea. I met her, I think, once, and I think she kind of comes off as somebody who could either take this or leave it. She's not very engaged in, the comings and goings of the production, from what I understand. And I mean, she was, and the 3 words she said to me, she was pleasant. But, I was standing 3 feet from her and for probably 30 minutes, and I heard about 3 words come out of her mouth,
Well, if she's not complaining about Adam or, some bitching about something or whining to her dad, that's why I don't like her. But I know she's a fan favorite, you guys. I know you guys all love Chelsea.
I've never met Adam. I don't know why I didn't meet him, but he wasn't at one of the films we were at. But from everybody I talked to, they say Adam is just the nicest dude. I don't have any personal experience with him, but they say in real life he's just a super nice guy. From what I understand, he didn't make the best decisions, and I don't know too much about that, but people that I've talked to that said that he is just a really, really nice guy to be around. So that's
when he's not burning his cars up and getting arrested.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that. I don't watch that show. But
okay, so I think what about Leah?
All right. So, first thing that'll strike you about Leah is how tiny she is. She is super tiny. I don't know how tall she is. She looks to be about 5 foot and about 80 pounds. She is tiny, tiny, tiny. But the first time and the only time I met her, it was comical. You would have thought that Jay-Z was walking down the hall because she had an entourage with her of 30 people.
Really?
And supposedly they were all family members, but it was a sea of Southern accents walking down the hall with Leah out in front. She did a coffee combos with Kale. And that doesn't surprise me because she was talking about how she feels like very responsible for her family and Sure.
helping them out. So I guess that doesn't really surprise me.
She was very sweet. She was very friendly. We didn't talk all that much, but I think that particular day, the person on Team Mom 2 that I personally spent the most time with is Kale.
And what's she like?
Kale's great. Kale is what Kale is. There's no difference on camera than off, from what I can tell. We spent Amber and I shared a hotel room in Hollywood with Kale, and I think it was 1 or 2 nights before some award show or whatnot. Kale was great. She's a lot of fun. She's chatty. She seems to be driven.
Someone told me the one thing about Kale is that she literally cannot lie. Is it?
I think she has. I don't know if she lies or not, but she doesn't have a big filter.
Yeah, that's kind of what they said is she can't hold back, kind of thing.
Yeah, not at all.
Yeah.
And it's funny to see Kale and Leah next to each other because they are physically polar opposites. I mean, Kale is super tall, and
How tall is Kale? Like,
I don't know exactly. I think she's taller than I am, and I'm 5'8.5".
I didn't realize
I remember.
Wow.
I think she's taller than I am.
How is Farrah tall?
Farrah's heels tall.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've never seen.
Macy seems really short and petite.
Macy's short and petite. Yeah.
Amber's short.
Amber's 5'2". Yeah.
Janelle is like 5 feet, right? She's tiny.
I think that was a heels night when I.
Did you meet Barbara?
I did not get to meet.
Damn
Barbara
it!
But everybody kept telling me that they need to get Barbara and I in a room together because of the accents. But I've never met her.
Barbara needs her own show. Like, we want to get Barbara her own show. Like, I would watch.
I hear nothing but good things about her.
I mean, people are always like, Janelle's worthless because of Barbara, and I'm like, well, at least Barbara's entertaining, you know.
From what I've seen of her, she's a piece of work. That'd be a fun show to see, for sure.
So, with all of that said, what do you miss the most about it?
I miss that's tough. The money. So
yeah.
That's one. And if that makes me a bad person, well, whatever. That's one thing. But from a people standpoint, I would say the production staff is what I miss the most. I mean, I still have some contact with some of the cast members occasionally, so it's not like we're completely out of each other's lives. But the people that we worked with, Amber's crew in particular, I miss those guys a lot. They're who we spent most of our time with when we were filming, and they were wonderful. They're just great people to be around, and I would say lifelong friendships got developed. So I miss those guys. Filming I always found it fun, but I hadn't been doing it for 10 years. But I thought it was fun, especially traveling to film.
Yeah.
When you travel for Teen Mom, whether we went to Puerto Rico or LA or New York, wherever we went, we kind of got treated like royalty, and that's something that's a lot of fun. And I don't mean by the general public. I mean by production itself. They paid for everything. Anything we wanted, we could have, and as long as we did it on camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They really, I can't say that they treated us poorly by any stretch of the imagination. I can't imagine, for example, what that Puerto Rico trip costs, because we had heard a rumor that the place that we were staying was $12,000 a night, and there was, we had 3 bungalows at $12,000 a night for a week.
Oh my God.
So they treated us very well, and if we decided, hey, we want to go parasailing, as long as they could film it, they would let it happen.
That's awesome.
So Amber would sometimes say, you know what, I think I want to go on a trip. Let's go to Asheville, North Carolina. And, okay, as long as we can film it, we'll pay for it. So that's some of the stuff that you kind of get spoiled a little bit. It's that's some of the good stuff that you have to deal with. So.
And what's the worst?
About filming?
No, just like what was the worst? You have the positives with the travel, with the money, with the cast, the production.
The worst is, to me, this is all personal, to me was Tuesday mornings when all the outlets started writing their articles about the show the night before.
Yeah.
that to me was a horrible day, and for obvious reasons. But I can't really say there was a whole lot of negative about filming. I mean, when you have stuff that it gets aired on TV in front of a million people and God knows how many countries and whatnot, at first you feel kind of like you don't want to leave the house.
Yeah, I can see that.
You're constantly overthinking, what happened on the show the night before, so on and so forth. I don't miss that feeling, but towards the end, it's towards my end of my tenure on the show, I didn't even feel that way anymore. It was just another day. But at first, I don't miss that sick feeling or the tension that can go on even in your own home after the show. I mean, let's say, this is all hypothetical, but maybe the show painted Amber in a bad light the night before.
Yeah.
That's not going to be a great day for either of us the next day, or me, or Gary, or anybody.
Well, and the fans are ruthless.
Yeah. They're devoted.
There's some that are super kind and super awesome, but I have learned the hard way.
Katie, you want to hear an interesting story
Yeah.
about that? I don't know if I told you this offline or not, but I've told the story a bunch of times. So yeah, I know you've been dealing with some internet stuff lately.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Back when I was on social media, and you get a lot of negative comments, and everybody does. Everybody in the cast gets negative comments. I mean, I don't know. For me to say I got more than most would be unfair, but it's possible.
Yeah.
So a lot of them tend to blend together. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just 50 of you suck in a row. It has to be really vile for them to stand out because you're just kind of skimming through them.
Oh yeah, I know.
Well, there was one person in particular who was incredibly vile to me. I mean, and I can't even repeat the stuff that this person was saying, but it was rapid fire, one after the other, and the person had their picture on their profile, and for some reason, when somebody talks that badly to you, that image gets burned into your head. Well, I was in a grocery store one day.
Yeah.
And I was in the cereal aisle. I will never forget that. I will remember this on my deathbed. This woman comes down the aisle and says, "Oh my God, Matt, I'm such a huge fan. Can you take a picture with me?" And I turned around. Sure enough.
No.
Sure enough, it was the exact same person. So I was a little stunned at first. And I said, well, yeah, absolutely. I'll take a picture with you. So, you do the arm around each other, picture. And then I said, hey, would you mind, I've never done this before, but would you mind if I took a picture on my phone? You're such a nice person. She said, oh, no, that'd be wonderful. Well, in the process, I pull up my Twitter. And I said, by the way, is this you? And I held up my phone. And the woman had this look of terror on her face. And I kind of laughed. I said, ma'am, some of the stuff that you said, I mean, why? I wasn't upset. I was just kind of laughing about it. Her husband comes around the corner and he says, oh, you're that guy from that show? Yeah, she's such a huge fan. And I said, you see what your wife said about me? And I handed him my phone. And he kind of gives her this look of, you said this stuff? You're 40 years old. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Anyway, we hugged and made up and took pictures. Well, that night, I just happened to look at my Twitter. And sure enough, there's the picture of us on her Twitter with the caption, look at the scumbag I found in the grocery store.
I knew it. I knew it.
And I just thought, wow.
I feel like no matter who you are or what you're doing, it's like they just have their minds made up of what you are.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
People can think or feel any way they want.
Right.
But be that way in person, too.
Right. I hate people that are fake. Like, if you're going to just hate me all the time.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff doesn't bother me. It's just the hypocrisy of it all. Of, please take a picture, and I'm such a huge fan. And I believe this person was a huge fan of the show. But I think getting attention online from complete strangers was more important than protecting the feelings of the person you're talking about. And I just, I don't agree with that. So
okay, I have one more question, and then we're gonna wrap it up. We're almost at an hour here. Okay, first off, Renee says Macy's in the house. I don't know if she was actually here or if they're saying that. And then everyone is speculating. Laura Spritz says, Katie, say hi to Amber, because everyone in chat is convinced that Amber is watching. And then, hi, Amber. And then Kathy says, what's Randy like?
I've never met Randy.
Never read it? Okay.
Never met him. No. I haven't even heard much about him. So I don't know Randy.
Okay.
I can tell you, the parents I can tell you who are shockingly nice are Farrah's parents. And even though Michael and I, last time I saw him, I kind of tossed him like a javelin. But Deborah and Michael, very, very nice people. Deborah in particular, Deb's great. So again, another person who has zero filter, but she is always got a smile on her face, was just fantastic to be around. Just fun. Deb's fun. So.
See, and I have heard that Michael's a scumbag. Is that true?
I'll tell you.
Allegedly.
Again, I don't know. I know that it was a scummy thing getting his nose a half an inch from Amber's and calling her all kinds of names on stage. That was a scummy move. But I'll tell you, the first time I met him, it was a New York hotel.
Macy was actually in the chat.
Macy Bookout? Hi, Mace.
Oh, thank you for letting me know, Leslie.
Love Macy. I didn't say anything bad about Macy, right? No, of course not. Anyway,
No.
First time I met Michael, he was coming out of an elevator, I was coming in, and he shook my hand. He said, "So nice to meet you." And I said, "It's nice to meet you too." Then he let my hand go. Then he shook my hand again. And then he said, "It's really nice to meet you." And I said, "Nice to meet you too." And as I got in the elevator, he reached in and shook my hand a third time. He said, "It's really, really nice to meet you." And I thought, I don't know if this guy has, obsessive compulsive. I have no idea.
Yeah.
What it is. But as the elevator doors were closing, he was still shaking my hand, and I kind of had to yank away from him. But I mean, except for that one reunion show incident, Michael's always been friendly to me, and we'd have conversations backstage, and I don't think it can be easy to be Farrah's parents. So I think that you got to give them a break. They have a tough job. I don't know, and you say Michael's allegedly a scumbag. I don't know if that's true or not.
I have feedback. What's going on? Oh, yeah, I have feedback. Okay. Oh, you changed your YouTube account? I'm sorry. Hang on. Hold on. Is it my static or? Anyways. I don't. All right. So I'm sorry. I was getting too distracted there. I did not mean to give you your full attention there. Yeah, I've just heard some things about Michael. Some people that are connected to the Farrah Fawcett's of the world, Farrah Abrahams of the world.
Please don't confuse those.
Yeah, I know. Have said some things about Michael, but obviously I have never been able to confirm anything. So I try not to speculate about that kind of stuff.
I think you know by now, Katie, that I can only talk about the experiences I personally.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I understand. So, all right. A lot of the people in the chat have been having questions about marriage boot camp, but you guys hold on to your seats because Matt will be back later. Not today, but we're going to do another episode of what it was like to be on marriage boot camp. And I'm going to dive into Brandi Glanville because I am obsessed with her lunaticness. And Matt said she might be kind of crazy.
Might be? Yeah, we can talk about that in the future if you want. Yeah, let's do that in the future. I need to mentally prepare for that conversation. Don't get me wrong, I like Brandi.
We can talk about Jim Jones being high all the time.
All right. Well, Jim Jones, we gotta be honest. I'm not a hip hop guy, and I didn't know who Jim Jones was when I met him. Does he smoke a lot of weed? Yeah. I mean, I think that's common knowledge, at least from when he was there. Jim Jones was cool. He was a cool guy. He really, really was. I still don't really. I know he's a rapper.
Yeah.
But I would say that I bonded more with his mom than I did.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk about his mom. But we're going to save all of that for next time. So, as always, thank you so much for joining me. These are always super fun.
Yes.
We'll dive into marriage boot camp because that's where things are going to get intense.
That was an intense 16 days.
Yes.
So,
all right, you guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Thank you, Matt. Bye.
Take care.